Hi and welcome to Raven Rebels. In this short video we will show you how you can try out our latest project called egowallet. Egowallet is a graphical user interface, a web interface on top of your own Raven core wallet. So you have your own wallet, you own your keys, and you have your own web interface on top of that. So it's highly decentralized. And we hope this will take about 10 minutes to get everything up running. If you have a Ravencoin wallet, Raven core already installed. It's a developer saying 10 minutes, so let's see if that is 10 minutes. Okay, so let's say that we start around 11:48, right? So hopefully we are done by 11:58. Okay, so what you see on the screen is a screenshot from our egowallet, a very, very simplistic web interface on top of Ravencoin. And we have built this using the default wallet, the standard generic wallet for Ravencoin called Raven Core, Ravencoin QT, whatever it's called. We call it Raven Core. And we are using Google Firebase as middleware, so your computer will be running your full node and it will update, send information to Google Firebase. Firebase is the middleman, the middle layer, and then you have your web app that communicates with Firebase. So there's no communication between your wallet and your web app, right? So it's a three-layer design where your web app is only talking to Firebase. That's it. So you can switch wallets whenever you like. Okay, let's start. What do we do? First off, we go to GitHub, Raven Rebels at GitHub. And there you will find the project, the repository egowallet. Raven Rebels is the project and egowallet is the repo. Hopefully these instructions will tell you what to do, but it's almost impossible to get all the steps into a README file. It's very difficult to tell you like, oh, go to Firebase and blah, 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 without video or images. So we will use this instruction, follow it, and see if it works. So here you can read about the egowallet, what it is. It's just a simple web wallet where you can send Raven. You can list and see your assets. You can't send assets yet. It's coming up. You see that you need a Google Firebase account. You need to run a Ravencoin node in server mode. And you need to run your web interface, which can be, I mean, you can host it wherever you like. In this case, we just run it locally, but you can put it on any hosting you like. So let's get started. Let's bring up let's go to temp. Let's go to my temporary directory, so everything is clean. And what do we do now? Let's see. First off, we should clone the repo. Okay, done. Then we should create a Firebase project. So go to Firebase. I'm logged in. Here you go, console, and you say add project. We call the project demo, whatever. My wallet, let's call it my wallet. Continue, I don't want Google Analytics. The clock is ticking, we want to be ready at 11:58. So we are waiting for Google to set up our Firebase project. Okay, now we have a brand new empty project, doesn't contain anything. And what should we do? We must create a Google Firebase project. and we should configure it to use Google. Okay. Authentication. Blah, 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 blah. We say that we want to use and we need a mail. I use this temporary mail. Okay, now we have configured our project to use Google for authentication. We missed something, and we have to update the update because it should say that you should create a real-time database here. We have to update that. Okay, go to real-time database and create the database. Select location. We take Belgium. So now we have a database in our Firebase project. Nice. And then in the Firebase we should copy the web app config from Firebase. This is a tricky part. It always confuses me. We go to project settings. This symbolizes web, I don't know, code. Oh. Let's call it my wallet. Here we go. Now we have configured our app to use web, and we have some code here. And what we're interested in is this object here. So we copy this. In our instructions it says we should create a file called client source Firebase config.json. So egowallet, I use Visual Studio Code in this example. It's a great open source free editor. What was that? I don't know. Okay, and so we say go to client source Firebase config. What the? It brings up lots of old windows. Okay, and we also have an example file how it should look. So we create file new Firebase config.json, and we paste in this. Note this is JavaScript syntax. This is not JSON syntax. JSONs, you need all the key values should be in quotation marks. So in my case, I just pressed Shift-Alt-F in Visual Studio Code, and it formatted it for us. So now we have the Firebase config. Next step. Install dependencies for the client. So we should go to the client directory in the command line and run npm install. Client npm install. Time is running out. It's almost 11:50. Oh, we are not done in 2 minutes. So we are installing the dependencies for the client. Now that's done. Now we should be able to do npm start. Npm start. And the server is running on localhost 1234. Localhost 1234. Here we go. The client has started. We click sign in with Google. And I log in with my account. And now we see everything is empty, and that's okay. Because why are we doing this? Well, we need to secure the Firebase database. So we log in with our Google account on our local web app. We just did that. And now we should be able to go to Google Firebase Project Authentication Users and see that we have a new user. Let's see. Authentication. Here we go. We have our new user with the user ID. Let's copy this ID. So we say that we should go to the real-time database rules and update the read and write rules so that only this user have access. So this is what we want. So we go to real-time database, we go to rules. Now it says that no one can read, no one can write. And we want this ID, so we want to have this. Copy. And then we replace this one. So now the rule says that only user with this ID are able to read and write. Publish. Okay, we updated the rules. And you should be... and now the database is empty. There's nothing to see at all. It's completely empty. But now we have configured the access rights. So now let's do the server stuff. So we in the command line we should change directory to let's open up a new one. We go to server. And we run npm install. No, from the server. And this the server directory contains a file called ticker. This is the file that will read data from our local Ravencoin wallet and update Firebase. So step 6 is to configure Ravencoin wallet to update Firebase. So then we have to start our Raven wallet. And then we should make sure that in the configuration of the Ravencoin wallet, we should use the wallet notify feature. And each time the wallet notifies us about a change, we want to run a script that will trigger this ticker file. And always when you're running different applications and scripts in different directories, you can have a problem with what is actually the current path and the current directory. So personally, to be safe, I usually use full path always when possible. So we can create like in this case we're on Windows, so we create a ticker.bat batch file. So we do notepad ticker.bat. We can probably copy this text. So this says go to change the current directory to temp egowallet server and then run this ticker. This is just to be sure that it's actually everything is running the way we think it's running, the way we want it to run. And so now the core wallet has started, so we go to options, open configuration file. Here we have the configuration, and in this case we want to say that the wallet notify should point to temp, and we call it ego wallet, right? And we call it server ticker.bat. This should be temp ego wallet. Sorry, this and server, and then we have ticket.bat. Yes. And then we must restart the wallet for this to work. Okay, next step is, so at least we have told the wallet to run that file, but that will not work because we need to, our server part of this project has no idea how to log on to your local wallet. That's why you need to have a config file. It's not in our, we do not say that in the README file yet, we will add it. Okay, so let's create a config_config.json file. Config.json. And what should it have? It should have, we take the stuff from the example. So let's set a secret123. Let's say that the username and the password is secret123. Let's we have also copied the Ravencoin config. It's here in the README file as well, as an example, because you need to run it in server mode. You want to index transactions and assets and stuff. So here you have, in the README file, you can see how your config should look. So we have those username and password, and we save this. Now we should restart the Raven wallet for this to work. And we go into our local config file, and we copy in our secret username and password, and we're running the default port for RPC, the way we communicate. We need to have the database URL because our script doesn't know. Okay, the Raven, the ticker, it's a very simple file, but it uses Firebase, and it wants to communicate with the database. So it needs to have the URL to the database. So we should go to Firebase, and I think the best thing is to go to, I think it's here in the config. Yeah, if we go to the project setting general, and the web client part contains this database URL that we want. So let's copy the database URL. Let's paste it in here. So now we have the database URL. We have our very, very secret username and password, and the URL for the local server. Now we need to have a Firebase service account.json file. It's not yet in the README file. We will add it. How do you do that? Well, you go to your project in Firebase, and you go to project settings. You go to service account, and you create a okay, sorry, there you have could have taken the database URL from here. Anyway, generate new private key. And we go to temp egowallet server, and we are supposed to name this the name of should be config Firebase service account file path. So let's call it, we call it ASDF. Why not? ASDF. So now we've configured our server part to say that this is where you find the private key for your service account to Firebase. This is the URL to your database on Firebase. This is the local URL to our Ravencoin wallet, and this is the login and information. Now this should work. you should be able to test this by just doing node ticker. Okay, it worked. What did it do? It did some RPC calls to our Raven Core wallet, get the balance and unconfirmed balance and list my assets. So we should now be able to go to real-time database and see that, ta-da, we have some information here. Looking good, looking good. And if we look at our client, it doesn't work. Okay, why? In this case, the client should work. Let's say npm start. Let's start the local server again for the web app. It works. Now we see that we have 221 Raven and we have some beer tokens on this wallet. And you can also, so on home you can see what your balance is, and then you can also make payments. And what happens when you make a payment? Well, first off, we need to have we can make a local transaction. We just take our own an address that we from this wallet, and we say let's pay to this address, pay to Raven. Are you sure you want to send? Yes, I am. Okay, now we sent to Raven. What happened when we did this? Well, in Firebase we now have a request that says please send to this address. And for this to work, we need to execute our second script in the server, which is called payers. We do node payer. And when we start running this is listening to Firebase. So now the balance went down to 221. Let's say if we send it should be the same balance since it's a local thing, but let's say that we can we find another have we sent to someone? Yeah, we have sent something to this address. Let's take copy address. Okay, this is another address. I don't know whose address it is, but let's send that person one Raven. Now the balance should go down from 221 to 220. Submit, and the payer picked it up immediately, and now the balance is low. So now we have less Raven and everything is up and running, and we saw that we need to add instructions to this README file about the payer stuff. It did not take 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, but anyway, we are up and running. So if you like this video, please give us some love on YouTube or on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at Raven Rebels. That's our Twitter handle. And if you have comments, thoughts, ideas, whatever, just get in touch with us. And I hope you liked it. If you want to see more stuff like this, just shout it out. Okay, thanks everyone.